The thing that makes real estate so unique is how big and how kind of interconnected it is with so many different industries. Because not only do you have homes, which for many Americans is the biggest purchase that you will ever make, but now you have the entire banking industry, because the banking industry kind of banks off of people taking out mortgages to buy out homes. And then you have the insurance industry. And so you have this major kind of system that is built around the entire real estate industry. And so if real estate prices come down or if real estate prices crash, then the whole industry goes down with it. And that's why you can see kind of the whole financial system suffer if housing prices or real estate prices crash. The thing that you have to understand about real estate, and every asset class for that matter, is that real estate moves in cycles. There's times where home prices are booming, and then you'll see times where home prices are cooling down. The 2008 real estate meltdown was an outlier because that wasn't just a crash. I mean, that was an all-out real estate collapse. But at the same time, you really want to understand what's going on in the real estate and the housing market right now, because we are in a very strange housing market. And so you want to make sure you're protected, and you want to make sure you really understand what's going on. That way you can make the best decisions with your money, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. But before I do that, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash the thumbs up button below. If you really want to understand what factors could cause a housing market crash, there's three things that you need to understand. First, you got to understand where we were, because that's going to help you understand how we got to where we are. And that's going to help you understand, number two, where we are today. You need to understand where we are in the housing market and the real estate market. And that's going to help you understand, number three, where we are going. So let's start with number one. Let's talk about what happened to get us where we are today. So like I said just a second ago, real estate is cyclical. And after 2008, it wasn't just a normal cycle like this. During the 2008 crash, we really saw real estate just collapse like we have never seen happen before. And so here was 2008, and in 2012, so we'll call this 2012, that was when real estate prices really bottomed. So the 2008 crash started in 2008, and real estate prices bottomed out in 2012. And then from 2012 onwards, between 2012 and 2019, we saw the real estate market start to improve. We saw jobs start to come back, the economy grew as more people got their jobs back, more people had incomes to go out and buy homes. So home ownership started to grow. We saw lending restrictions start to relax, and so more people were able to go out and get a loan so they could go out and buy a home. And so we started to see home ownership rise. We started to see more people buy homes, and we saw home prices start to really go up. Then in 2019, something really interesting happened. 2019 was supposedly one of the strongest economies that the United States has ever seen. But at the same time, the Federal Reserve Bank in 2019, they came out and they started cutting interest rates. Now, typically, the Federal Reserve Bank only cuts interest rates when you are in a recession, in a slowing economy, because when you cut interest rates, it makes borrowing money cheaper, and when borrowing money becomes cheaper, more people go out and borrow money so they have more money to spend. So cutting interest rates is a way for you to stimulate the economy. And so it was kind of strange that in 2019, we started to see interest rates cut. And the reason behind that was the government and the Federal Reserve Bank was kind of concerned about the economy because it was growing, but they were concerned that it wasn't growing as fast as they would have liked. So they started cutting interest rates to kind of get that economy moving faster. And so in 2019, we started to see mortgage rates fall, which naturally made more people want to be homeowners. So in 2019, we kind of saw this kind of dip and then jump back up because now mortgage rates started to be cut. And so these lower interest rates made more people want to be homeowners. And now we go into 2020, and as we all know, in 2020, that's when the pandemic hit and the recession hit. And for a little bit of time, everything shut down. People stopped buying real estate, people stopped selling real estate, everything was shut down. But then a month after the pandemic came in, that's when the Federal Reserve Bank came in and they slashed interest rates to near zero. And as soon as that happened, so this is like mid 2020, now home ownership started booming because you had these kind of the early adopters that saw this and they were like, wow, you're telling me that I can go and get a 30-year mortgage for 3% interest? And so all these people started to go out and they started to buy homes. And at the same time, you didn't have a lot of homes available for sale. I mean, some people just didn't feel comfortable selling their homes because we were in the middle of a pandemic and they didn't want people walking through their properties. And so you had a small inventory of homes available for sale, and you had a lot of people that wanted to buy homes and take advantage of these low interest rates. So now the home market started to boom. Then as housing prices started to go up, people were saying, wow, I don't want to miss out on this trend. And so more and more people started buying homes. You started to see some more people start to sell their homes. But even through 2020 and 2021, we had a very small supply of homes available for sale, while we had a whole kind of tidal wave of people that wanted to be homeowners because people wanted to take advantage of these low interest rates. I mean, even at the time we were recording this video, interest rates were dirt cheap. And so going from 2020 to 2021, we saw the housing market essentially just shoot up. From 2012 to 2021, it was a very great time for homeowners. I mean, if you bought a home around here, you saw home prices shoot up straight. So between 2012 and 2021, home prices just shot up thanks to the help of loosened lending restrictions. So it became easier to go out and get a mortgage, and thanks to the help of cheaper mortgages because the Federal Reserve Bank started cutting interest rates in 2019. And then we saw it in 2020 get slashed even more to historic lows. And so we are seeing some of the lowest interest rates ever, which made it very enticing for people to go out and buy a home. So from 2012, 2021, we saw a booming housing market. This brings us to where we are today. Right now, at the time when we're recording this video, we are in the midst of a real estate boom. So we're still in a seller's market where we have a lot of people that want to buy homes, but not a lot of people selling homes. And so home prices are shooting up, but you really got to understand these 5 things if you want to be able to understand really where we are right now in the housing market, because that's going to lay the foundation to understand where we're going in this housing market. Starting with interest rates, the thing you have to understand about interest rates is interest rates determine how expensive your mortgage is going to be. And so this housing market has been driven primarily, or at least in big part, because of low interest rates. People have been trying to take advantage of these cheap mortgages. And right now, mortgage rates have come up a little bit, but they're still historically very low. So while interest rates have come up a little bit off of their lows, they're still nowhere near as high as they used to be. So interest rates are still very low, but people are concerned here. Because if interest rates keep going up, then people are worried that it's going to become very expensive for someone to buy a home, because we've seen home prices boom. And so we have home prices way up here, but people are still able to afford homes because interest rates and mortgage rates are so cheap. But if mortgage rates come up and home prices are so expensive, then people will not be able to afford homes. So that's the concern. But now the counterpoint is the Federal Reserve Bank has come out time and time again, and they said that they're going to keep interest rates low for as long as possible. Now, what's as long as possible? I don't know. I mean, some people say that they're going to keep it low through the end of 2021. Some people say through the end of 2022. Some people are saying into 2023. So it really just depends on how fast the economy is growing, because it's really hard to predict what the Federal Reserve Bank is going to do. All we know is they do want to keep interest rates low for now, and we don't know how long these low interest rates are going to stay. But as long as interest rates are low, you can kind of predict that people are going to want to take advantage of these low interest rates to go out and buy a home and to refinance on their mortgage, because they want to take advantage of this cheap debt. The thing that everybody's worried about here with interest rates is what is the breaking point? And this is what the Fed is trying to test. And so as you see them kind of slowly raise interest rates, what they want to see is where is that kind of breaking point where now interest rates have gone up to the point where people don't want to go out and buy a home, or people don't want to go out and refinance their mortgages. Where is that point? I don't know where that is. And I don't think the Federal Reserve Bank does either. They're trying to just kind of figure this out, because if they start to see the housing market start to slow down, or if they start to see the economy slow down because interest rates have gone up so much, well, that could be a problem. And we're in an economy where right now, the economy still is relying on cheap debt and free money in order to keep pumping and surviving. And so interest rates are going to play a major factor in the housing market. And so this is something you definitely want to pay attention to with interest rates and where they're going. But this is something you got to understand, that right now, interest rates, yes, they've gone up a little bit, but they're still at historic lows. This is where you're kind of seeing almost like a perfect storm in the housing market, because not only do you have super cheap interest rates, we also have a very low supply of homes available for sale. And so when you go out and you want to go find a home you want to live in, you might find a beautiful property and you go look at it the same day this property was listed. Well, if you go back and you talk to your spouse about buying this home, and the next day you put an offer, you might find out that there's already 15 offers on this property, and now if you want to buy it, you have to bid up the property. You might be overpaying for this property. So if this property is on sale for $300,000, you might be making an offer for $320,000. That way you have a chance to compete. And so this is what we're seeing happen right now. We have a very low supply of homes available for sale, and so when people want to buy it, because we have such a high demand, people are having to fight against each other through money. money by throwing more money at the property. And so people are bidding against each other to buy properties because we have such a low supply and we have such a high demand to buy a home. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.